Hi Callie, hi Gwendolyn. Callie, I loved your video about celebrating small things and the little details that add texture to our lives. One of my favorite little daily textures are my two silver seashells. One seashell holds my ponytail holders and one seashell holds my bobby pins. And they're identical, so I have to shake them to figure out which is in which. Now, if I was an organized or logical thinker, I would place them in particular spots in my room. I put the ponytail holders on my bookcase or the bobby pins by my typewriter. But to me, it's always so satisfying to hear the teeny metal clings of the bobby pin and the subtle whispery shuffle of the ponytail holders. It adds a whimsical texture to my day. All right, moving forward, there are two parts to my video today. The first part is where I'm going to do a recap of things that have happened in my life in the past few weeks. And the second part is where I'm going to talk about my feelings about today being the last day of college for me ever. So, my sisters and I had a sleepover. It involved lots of brownie batter, lots of pizza. The grand finale of the night was when my little sister Bethany came out in full Miranda Sings costume and did her impeccable impersonation. There's a guy in my oceanography class that looks exactly like Paul Dano, and I'm very convinced that it's actually him. I have no idea why Paul Dano would be taking an Oceanography 102 class at the University of Washington, but he is. So, for Ryan's birthday, we bought him a Louis Tomlinson cardboard cutout, which he seems to be cherishing. That reminds me, I owe you like $5, Callie. I met Leslie Walton, who is the author of The Strange and Beautiful Sorrows of Ava Lavender, which is the most beautiful book I have ever read. She had a book signing at Elliott Bay Bookstore. I also did a talk. She did Q&A. I asked her a question. She said my question was great. She recently won a Pacific Northwest Booksellers Association Award, so she's a big deal. I went to Golden Gardens and took a selfie at the beach because that was legitimately an extra credit assignment for my oceanography class. Now that I just said that, I am kicking myself for not touching bases with Paul Dano and seeing if he wanted to, coordinate schedules and take a selfie with me together at the beach. Could be our thing. Speaking of men that I am in love with, Alex and I took our first round of engagement photos, which I will give you a sneak peek of. Hey Callie, remember that one time, like last week, that Rick Kenny came up to us and asked us why we weren't studying abroad with him in Rome next quarter? That was great. Alright, part 2 of this video, talking about how today is my last day of college ever. I'm trying to wrap my brain around that, and it's just not happening. I thought that at the end of college I would feel burnt out and tired. I thought I would have no desire to read any more research, to learn any more concepts, to do anything productive with my brain. But that just isn't the case. When I was in Running Start, I had a very influential English professor that talked about how she wanted to inspire her students to be lifelong learners. And at the time, I thought this was a really cheesy, nerdy concept. But now I'm just like, yes, I get it. I want to learn about the history of gentrification, about the racial and socioeconomic implications, the history of the feminist movement, classical art, surrealist art, impressionist art, okay, just all art. I want to read biographies of people who have done incredible things. I got a study Bible for Christmas, and I want to read all of the footnotes in it, all of them. I want to read more Elizabeth Bishop, Robert Lowell, Frank O'Hara, Jane Austen, Edgar Allan Poe, all of the goodies. And I also feel like I should read some Walter Benjamin. You should weigh in on that, Callie. Tell me what to read, what not to read. I want to learn more about marine biology, about how the ocean works, more about planets, science in general, architecture, theology, women leaders in the Bible, cross-culture linguistic disparity, words and concepts and feelings that don't translate well cross-culturally, and I want to learn more about why that happens. I want to learn a little French, a little Italian, a little Latin. I don't know if I actually want to learn Latin, it just sounds cool. One of my favorite movies is Good Will Hunting, which I hope you've both seen because Robin Williams, Matt Damon, Minnie Driver, Ben Affleck, what's not to love? There's this great scene in a bar or a pub where Matt Damon has this really cool conversation where he kicks this really smart Harvard guy's butt about some historical thing. He tells this jerky guy that he dropped 150 grand on an education that he could have gotten $1.50 from library finds. I just butchered that line. I mean, obviously it would have taken a whole lot of intellectual initiative to really get a better education from reading books at a library than you would get at Harvard. But we all get what he's saying. I'm excited to pair an article about gender psychology with an article about mermaid mythology. It's like pairing together wine and a cheese. I love a good wine and cheese. I also want to keep maintaining my observatory log that I've had for Rick Kenny's class, where I basically just keep a log of little details and textures of my day that I observe. And also my commonplace book, which is basically just lines of poetry and excerpts from books and other things that I read that catch my eye and then hopefully will inform and influence my own writing. My favorite poet ever, Billy Collins, says in his poem, What I Learned Today, no matter what the size the aquarium of one's learning, another colored pebble can always be dropped in. I'm sure that you two both have things that you want to continually learn and research about. I'd love to know about those things, about those colored pebbles that you're adding to your aquarium of learning. Have a great week, ladies. I hope that you learn new and fascinating things, and I will see you next week, Callie. You can, which, or this, and more, no matter what the size the aquarium of, I got a study Bible.